watching Zach films, reacting to Zach films on that.
Start by squeezing the stem, then use both thumbs to push deep into the hole. Next, wrap your fingers tightly around the apple and squeeze hard, holding the pressure. Then, turn your thumbs outward. This will cause your fingers to squeeze the sides of the apple while your thumbs lift the top. Next, light the fuse and take a big bite with your... If you stop trimming your fingernails, most people think they will just grow straight and curl over time. But that's actually not true. You see, the accumulation of bacteria and fungi under the nail plate can cause chronic infections that permanently deform your nail bed. And when you're going to take a shit, you can use them as a scraper. If you stop...
The summer was made.
Always shave with the grain, because shaving against it ensures a closer shave, but tears the skin and causes irritation. You see, until 1745, barbers were also considered surgeons, which explains the red and white stripes on the pole used to represent blood and bandages. This same technique was used by a field barber in the militia during the war, except he uses a Kalashnikov. They dragged the coffin next to the goal to honor their friend's memory by letting him score the last ball. So one guy stepped back to take the shot that should bounce off the coffin straight into the net, but the impact was so strong that the ball killed two more of their friends. They dragged the... His skull got deformed from breakdancing too much overtime, leaving him a flat, smooth surface. He still wanted to impress girls, even if he was too ugly. So he decided to show some dance tricks, but making a fool of himself. And he was later recruited in the armed forces of the U.S. as a perfect anti-aircraft system for WW3. His skull got... If a tank fires at you, how many books stacked together can actually protect you? You see, the tank shell is designed to go through armored metal and stone walls. So even if you stack 30 books tightly together, the shell would easily go through them and kill you. But if you place the Bible in the book stack, if a tank fire...
If you have this line, you're lucky.
Start by placing your front foot behind the front bolts with your toes slightly hanging off the edge, keeping your shoulders parallel with the board to maintain balance. Then snap the tail down sharply with your back foot while jumping upwards. And as the board rises, slide your front foot up the grip tape and flick off the toe side edge of the nose. But if you fail to perform, take the baby and throw it away. Start by placing your front foot behind the front bolts with your toe. Place 2 earplugs in your nose, then fold your tongue back and use your index and middle fingers from each hand to push it down. Then press your index fingers into the sides of your mouth and fold your lips over your teeth. This pushes the air over your tongue and through the small gap between your fingers. Finally, take a deep breath and then exhale forcefully.
Oh, he shitted it!
Place 2...
Do you want a new phone but don't have the...
She was cheating on her husband with her father, and as soon as they walked into the room, she recognized the sound of her man's motorcycle. She immediately exclaimed, "Hide quickly, but not inside the closet, that's too obvious." The man was terrified, but managed to jump behind the... She was cheating on her husband with her father, and as soon as they walked into the room, she... Why do Japanese kung fu masters wear such large hats that are pulled down over their foreheads? Many people might think that it's to prevent people from seeing their narrow eyes and tears. However, the real reason is that kung fu masters only accept people with flat heads to wear such hats, because during combat, the hat can be used as an ideal defense with the Spinakajitsu. Why do Japanese kung fu masters wear such large...
Ask for Credelio.
If you touch something and your atoms line up in a perfect line, there is a tiny chance that you will pass through the object like a ghost. But this is statistically impossible. This is because atoms are surrounded by a layer of energy that repels other atoms like a magnet. This creates a small space that separates you, no matter how hard you press. So you actually never touched anything, and my client didn't touch that. If you touch something and... This little donut drew a picture of his mom, but she looked like a She was like, "Good Lord, you're a hairy..." So the kid was grounded, but she felt guilty for burning ice to her stomach. This little donut drew a...
Pineapple on pizza? If you shoot samurai armor with a flaming crossbow bolt, it would often bounce off the overlapping lamellae. The armor was constructed with layers of iron and leather, giving it great strength and flexibility. But when flintlock pistols arrived, they were upgraded with heavier iron plating that might stop the relatively slow pistol bullets. However, if you shoot Fujimoto Taro Salmon Nigiri Teriyaki with a M26 Pershing,
If you fall and break your teeth, the dentist might shave down the surrounding area and use a special cement to restore them, as they serve as anchor points for the orthodontic wire. This exerts constant pressure that, over time, will straighten your teeth. As a final touch, a state-of-the-art device with a built-in flamethrower will help you stop. If you fall and break your teeth,
The first letter of
start by cutting a wood stick in two and place them on a tree trunk with the flat side facing inward. Then secure them with 4 large rubber bands. Now, spread the wooden sticks apart using your foot to help you, and use a smaller one to lock the trap in place, ready for use. Finally, hang a couple of bananas as bait, making sure not to trip. Start by cutting a wood stick in
what happened?
bait, making sure not to trip. If you go to sleep and suddenly feel like you're falling, there's actually a scientific reason for that weird sensation. This is called not pushing your meat before bed, which messes up your body's routine. You see, your body's so used to the daily ritual that when you skip it, your brain straight up punishes you by making you feel like you're getting thrown off a skyscraper to wake your ass up. And as you reach the ground,
What the?
if you go to McDonald's sells 6.5 million burgers every single day. And since each burger patty weighs less than a quarter pound, one cow can produce nearly 3,000 burgers from its meat. That means McDonald's uses approximately 2,000 cows every day just to keep up with global demand for their burgers. But if we take an average US fat mom, she can eat the entire lunch order, half of McDonald's tables, 2 chairs, and a clown in just one sitting. So to prevent global starvation, you need to use a Tsar nuclear bomb. Would a grenade explode if crushed by a hydraulic press? You see, when you pull the pin on a hand grenade, it releases a safety lever that allows the striker to hit the primer, which ignites a fuse, as the fuse burns down and makes it explode. But if you crush it with a hydraulic press, this system won't work because the grenade would just slip. Would a grenade explode if
Oh my god, देख पा रहे दोस्तों
an American soldier hid inside a fake plastic sheep alongside with his M4 machine gun during the war in Afghanistan. He did this to kill a Taliban leader, and when the day came and the unit approached the area, he prepared to take the shot. He broke